And we are live with the punch list this week with Nerds on Earth. I'm Abram, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend Clave. Clave, say hi to the fans.
Hi to the fans. Hi, Nash.
Oh, hey, Nash, what's going on? Put down Marvel Strike Force for just a second. This is the punch list, where we break down the nerdy news of the past week for all of you. We give you the top 7 news articles, and then me and Clave here just sort of chat about it on Wednesday afternoons after you have clearly read it over at nerdsonearth.com, where it comes out every Wednesday morning. So, I'm excited to talk about this week's news. I do not want to delay. I want to talk news. Number 7 this week, Peter Dinklage has been tapped for the Toxic Avenger reboot. Tell me about Toxic Avenger. I know nothing. I have nothing to say.
I've never heard of it. It's like a reboot, and I'm like, I don't know what that is.
It's a cult classic. It's a cult classic.
I'm assuming it's huge news that somehow it's on me for missing this. I feel like it's a problem with me that I don't know what this is talking about. I take full responsibility, Abram.
It's apparently I will accept your full. I will allow you to accept full responsibility.
Thank you.
It's a B movie cult comedy hit from 1984, so right in your heyday.
Okay. Yeah.
And it is sort of in the superhero genre, similar to like a Deadpool, is what it sounds like. So kind of get that superhero genre turned not on its head, but twisted in a way that it's nearly unrecognizable.
Man. That's what we need more of. So I'm happy to hear this news, Abram. Thanks for sharing this on the punch list.
You're welcome. And we have to start it off with that.
That's right.
So without knowing anything else about it, really, I mean, the fact that you get a big name like Peter Dinklage is significant.
Yeah.
Clearly means that there's a lot of buy-in, and they think it'll be a smash hit.
Yeah.
That's.
Do we know the studio? Do we know the production company? Do we know any sort of? Is it it's going to be in theaters? Are theaters still a thing? Do we know anything like that?
We know that Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz, the co-founders of Trauma Production, are attached to the project as producers.
It doesn't help me at all.
Right, I didn't think it would. That's why I didn't even mention it before, because I'm like, I don't think even Clave himself knows who these people are.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I hope that was welcome news to someone out there. Let's just say that.
There you go. I did read in the article, and I quote, the original The Toxic Avenger was virtually ignored upon its initial release until it became a runaway success as a midnight movie in New York City. So,
okay.
So you didn't. Right. You probably didn't miss it because everybody missed it.
Because I don't live in New York City and I don't stay up to midnight. I go to bed at 10.
He goes to bed at 10. So there, movie industry.
And you only watch the movie at midnight. So not my fault. I rescind my shame.
You can rescind the shame, but the fault is still there for you.
Okay.
You already accepted that. So I don't know. Read about the Toxic Avenger. I'm sure there's a whole group of people that's very excited about that. Or maybe they're mad.
I'm sure there's a Facebook group.
Yeah, there's probably a Facebook group.
There's a subreddit, I'm sure.
Yeah. Bring us more Toxic Avenger. Why don't more people know about this? Because it's too late.
Hashtag save Toxic Avenger. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we probably missed that. If Twitter was around in 1984, just imagine.
I just wish we could get a Snyder cut of this amazing movie. Then it would be perfect.
Then it would be perfect. Everyone knows once you get a Snyder cut that it's perfection. That's a little snark. Man, we're starting this out strong.
This is great.
Number 6 this week on the punch list. Mads Mikkelsen is replacing Johnny Depp as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts I guess I don't know if it's technically a trilogy, but it's Fantastic Beasts movie series. So even the next one that comes out, Fantastic Beasts 3, which I don't think has a tagline yet, will feature Mikkelsen instead of Johnny Depp, and that movie is slated to come out while we're talking about this early, July 15th, 2022. So
2022. Okay.
So it is very far in the future.
Maybe it safely won't be delayed.
Well, we put the caveat in the punch list anyways that COVID certainly may continue to affect and delay it. So we've covered. We are legally covered in case that July 15th date isn't hit.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say anything about this news because Abram, you're the '90s kid. I mean, obviously, I like Potter, obviously, but I'm not.
You're not a Potterhead.
I'm not a Potterhead. You know, it's not my primary fandom. Although, again, I do very much like Harry Potter. But I've seen the first Fantastic Beasts. I haven't seen the second, and I don't really follow the franchise. So this is all you. You gotta tell us what you think.
Well, so yes, you are correct. Grew up heavily on Harry Potter. I have really my first vivid Harry Potter childhood memory is when Book 4, Goblet of Fire, came out, and we got that big honking hardcover, and we went on a trip with my dad. We're all in the back of the station wagon, sitting in the middle. You got the pages turned up one way so one person could read sideways. You got the pages turned up another way. It was just awesome. So
I love stories like that.
So super great.
Yeah, that tattoos on your heart, man.
It does. And so the Fantastic Beasts, when those movies started to come out, I mean, I like the the regular 8 movies. Fantastic Beasts, I thought the first one was really, really good. And I thought Johnny Depp did a really good job as Grindelwald, sort of portraying just this evil, quote unquote evil wizard. But I thought he really had a good performance. But despite his performance, I didn't care for the second movie that much. It was just sort of all over the place for me. So I'm hoping that 3 sort of brings back the magic from the original, because the whole point of Newt Scamander and Fantastic Beasts is let's get those beasts. I want more beasts. I don't need any good versus evil stuff. I mean, that's going to be there, but show me more magical beasts.
You want the Pokemon angle,
right? Because that's also 90s thing. So
listen, I'm going to give you a spoiler.
Uh-oh.
So coming up on nerdsonearth.com, there is going to be a brief line that mentions Fantastic Beasts, because the creature that I wrote about on Nerds on Earth is the Hodag, which is a fearsome Wisconsin beast that appeared in Newt Scamander's book.
And if you go north of Highway 10 that cuts Wisconsin in half vertically, that's officially Hodag country. So you are officially in it. There's Hodag stuff everywhere.
Creature. Yeah. So. It's a fantastic beast. And now we know where to find it. Wisconsin.
Yeah. So I guess they're leaving London and they're coming to the USA. Or were they in the USA?
That's right.
I don't know. I don't remember the story anymore, but I thought at one point they came over to America, but maybe now they're staying. They're going to stay and fight some Hodags. Or maybe he'll tame some Hodags and show that they're really not that bad once you get to know
they're just misunderstood.
They're misunderstood. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a Harry Potter fan, just don't do a double take when Grindelwald looks different in 2022. I'm sure you'll forget by then.
Yeah. They'll just use CGI to make him look exactly like Johnny Depp.
See, probably. I mean, they'll probably make it so it's going to be like a deep fake where it's is that actually a different guy or is that Johnny Depp? They just have Mads Mikkelsen is actually just going to be in a green suit, and they're just going to mold Johnny Depp over the top of him. Great.
Yeah,
now that's out of the universe.
I'm appearing in an upcoming movie, and they just removed my mustache CGI, and it looked great.
I'm still auditioning for more Gollum parts. I know that I'm gonna wear that suit with all the little motion capture balls. Um, I just saw a behind the scenes photo the other day of the first Alice in Wonderland movie, and it was just like all green screen, and they're on like stilts wearing these like weird green suits. It was just like, how can you act when everything's a green screen?
Seriously.
Like,
Seriously.
you got to have a good imagination, which we have in abundance here at Nerds on Earth. Number 5 this week on the punch list, Joss Whedon has departs the Nevers, which is a sci-fi epic series centered around a gang of Victorian women with special abilities on a mission that could change the world. So he was going to write, direct, and produce it over on HBO, but he is now away from the project. But it's still happening. Summer of next year, The Nevers is still slated to hit your living room from HBO Studios. Did you know anything about The Nevers?
I didn't, and this will be a super controversial statement, and so I apologize already for the hate mail that we'll get, mainly from my friends, which is that Joss Whedon, I'm certainly a fan, but he's also a little uneven, not everything he has done has been golden.
He doesn't have the Midas touch.
Right, and in a lot of ways, I love Firefly. I grew up on Buffy. I love that stuff. But then there's also some things where you're like, hey, he maybe just didn't have the stick-to-itiveness, right? Like he got a little distracted, or the concept didn't match the execution didn't match the concept, or whatever. So I'm certainly a Joss Whedon fan, but I'm not a fanboy where I'm like, it has to have.
If it's not him, I'm not watching.
I'm not watching, If it's a good show, I don't know. But that said, I don't have HBO Max, so
Same.
I probably wouldn't have been watching anyway. So, I mean, that's what the world is nowadays. It's like, do you have the streaming service or not? Then does this news even?
Does it even affect
even affect me? So it doesn't. So I think what's interesting is the reason he left. I think he was just poor guy. I think he's just emotionally wrought out. It sounds like that he's just not. The press release and his statement essentially was translated to, "I'm just not feeling it right now."
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh man, poor guy." Yeah, I think I hope everything's okay and he's doing well, because he certainly has made. I mean, he's made Firefly, which is I love that show. So I hope he is back and being creative soon. Just won't be with this show.
Yep. Excellent points. For me, it's like, at the end of the day, I appreciate everybody involved with different projects, but people care about that finished product. What's it look like? How is it? And depending on just because someone's name on it doesn't mean it's good or bad, or it doesn't make any guaranteed statements. So yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, I have friends that are like, "Gosh, if you would just watch the first 19 episodes of Dollhouse, then you could finally get into it." And I'm like, I'm not giving anything 19 hours of my time.
I'm not doing that.
Better click quick.
You better. If it didn't click in episode 1, then A, how did the pilot succeed, and how come I'm not watching that if that was so good?
That's right.
So that's funny. All right, so number 4, moving on the punch list. This is like Abram Toll childhood nostalgia tour. This punch list.
Ooh, it really is. It was a very 90s punch list.
Very 90s. So Kadabra is making a return to the Pokemon trading card game after magician Uri Geller has given his permission to Nintendo. So this has been going on forever, like practically 20 years, where I believe what the story is so Kadabra's Pokemon, he's got the bending of spoons, and he's very much based on Uri Geller. And the Japanese translation, some of them basically are very similar to Uri Geller's name. So he was like, no, you can't do that. Like, that's my likeness. Like, that's my whole brand. That's who I am, the spoon bending guy. And so he said, no Kadabra in the trading card game. So in order to get around that, Pokemon has sort of they had to get creative and basically like, oh, if you want Alakazam, the final evolution of the Abracadabra Alakazam, he doesn't have to evolve from Kadabra. He can, just be, or Abra can evolve it. Like, they made all these special rules to sort of circumvent the idea that this middle evolution would not be in the game. But now he can be in the game again. So that's very, very cool to have him, after 20 years, say that let the kids have their fun. after all said and done, he finally says that.
Yeah. Abram, I didn't understand a word of what you just said to me.
Well, I do.
But I admit, I am not current on my Pokemon. So that's understandable. I'm old. I don't know what's going on.
He doesn't remember them.
Those stories.
He didn't
No,
catch them all.
I hate to be cynical, but I'm sure the magician guy got a good financial payment.
Oh yeah.
At some point you find a price that works, and he's like, suddenly you can use my likeness, and it sounds good. So yeah, but I like what you said at the end. Have the fun, and I think this is good. So, but to in summation, this is a single Pokemon.
Yep.
A single card.
It's a single Pokemon, and so it is, the Pokemon evolve, into more powerful forms. So this one is a part of a 3 Pokemon set. So Abra is the youngest, Kadabra is the middle, and Alakazam is the highest.
So the middle one.
The middle one
was missing.
They took away the middle.
Monkeys up stuff. Okay,
Yes.
Here's the more salient question though. When I open my iPhone for my little Pokemon, when I'm out with my kids on my Pokemon Go, can I now catch him in my backyard?
That's a really good question. You could always evolve your Abra into him. So he wasn't, there was a loophole for sure. This was just with the trading cards.
Well, after this, I'm gonna fire up that app and see if I still have it on my phone. We're gonna do this thing.
Yeah. No, I wonder if something, I don't know if Uri Geller is still doing magic shows or psychic shows, but this would be the year that he probably isn't doing them if he was.
Yeah.
So he probably saw that payday.
Think about the timing. He's not doing live shows, and he's like, hey, how can I make my income match?
How can I be in the black this year? I know. I'll just call up Nintendo and I'll retire early.
Yeah. He's got a family to feed. So
he can put that nest egg right in a spoon and bend it right in front of their eyes.
That's right.
Awesome. So look forward to Kadabra probably being printed 1 million times to make up for the lost time. Number 3.
You gotta have some chase cards, Abram. If you want to sell those packs.
Is it the first one? Don't you guys know? Yes, grandchild, let me show you the first Kadabra after Uri Geller's fabled boycott. And they're like, Dad, leave me alone. Except it's grandchild, so Grandpa, leave me alone.
Joke's on you. I don't even understand it, but I'm a speculator. I'm going to buy up all those cards and sit on them.
You probably already did. You're probably in the running to buy Wizards of the Coast.
I collected them all. Caught them all.
I caught all 20,000 copies of this one card. I'm rich. I built a house. Number 3 on the punch list this week, The Expanse, fabled sci-fi hit, has been renewed for its 6th season. The season 5 premiere is a couple weeks from today, and the final season, so that 6th season is the end of the Expanse story. They're not going to have it go in perpetuity forever. But it is the final book in the Expanse series is also coming out next year, so they have very closely every season sort of is a book. So I like that they're just going to shut the book on it and not try to. I mean, who knows, spin-off series, whatever. But the fact that they're going to contain the story with the series, I really, really think that's a smart move.
Yeah. I like the Expanse. I am not. I admit I'm not current.
Same.
It moved around, and I just didn't. I just didn't
It gets
follow
hard.
it.
It gets hard to
Uh,
follow if you take a break between, because I
yeah.
think I'm about a season outside of currency. Um,
Okay.
so
Well, and it's surprising because I enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. So I think this is a good, sounds like a good creative move, a good financial move, getting one more season. And, I think this is fun. And what's great about that is you'll have a beginning and the end. So the fandom can kind of celebrate the story, kind of like the Battlestar Galactica, it was nice to have an end to that. Whereas some of the other big fandoms um, like Walking Dead kind of
yeah,
shambled to an
or
end,
like Game
right?
of Thrones, which everyone was happy with how it ended.
Right, right. Yeah, I think there's certainly a danger of going one or two seasons too long, but 6 seasons, gosh, everyone's got to be happy about that,
Oh yeah.
and a book to support each one, um, and then it might give somebody like me I might finally catch up if I know that there's an end point.
Right. It's not like Supernatural where there's 15 seasons to slog through and they all
Right,
have 25
right,
episodes. Um,
right.
yeah, so super good, super cool news. Very exciting. So pay attention and get ready for season 5 coming in a couple weeks.
And
Uh,
that's on Amazon, correct?
that is
Amazon Prime.
Amazon, correct?
I do have that because that means that show has free shipping.
The show, yeah,
So
ships for
that's
free
great.
to your living room
Yeah,
digitally.
right to your iPad. That's great.
And they beat that 2 day shipping. I mean, it's practically instant. That's great.
Right. Great.
Under promise, over deliver. That's the secret of business. There. That one's for free. You now go spec on Pokemon cards. Number
I just
two.
got an MBA.
You just got MBA from Nerds on Earth. It's commonly not accepted most places. Number 2 this week on the punch list, shifting to tabletop games. Paizo Incorporated has announced Pathfinder Secrets of Magic, which will bring 2 classes to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the Magus and the Summoner. It's obviously going to have, like all their new books these days, it's going to have spells, magic items, lore. It's going to have the whole gambit. And also apparently new methods for spellcasting in 2nd Edition,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
pretty interesting as well. That is due out next August. So that's sort of their big, this year August was the Advanced Player's Guide with 4 new classes, and August will be the next 2 new classes. I don't think there's going to be any new classes before that. This is the next.
No, I think these are next classes, which yeah. Man, let's talk about Paizo and
Just
how thoroughly they support their games, And so when they shifted to 2nd edition, they had 10 years of Pathfinder 1st edition stuff, and folks are like, oh my gosh. It's like, well, you can still play your game. You got 10 years of content that they
right.
really supported, and now Pathfinder 2nd edition, uh, I can't say that I actively play, but there's a worldwide pandemic, and um, but I just love it so much, and I particularly love I thought they did a really good job with the spell casting, the way they have like the cult spell list and
Yes.
um, they did really good job delineating the spell lists, and everything is nice and clean and understandable. But then Paizo also has a lot of creativity to their stuff. You're like, there's some funky and fun spells. And so I expect a lot of good stuff out of this book. It introduces 2 new classes, which I think is a lot of fun. I think Paizo caters to different people in the player base where, oh man, I don't want to say this out loud, but D&D 5e is, what's great about it is it's streamlined, but it doesn't have a lot of breadth and depth to it. It's you have some classes and some archetypes, and there's not a lot of new player material. Whereas Pathfinder's like, sweet, like a whole book of new player material just for magic users. That's great. And so I think that's a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed every book that they've had for second edition so far. So I'm eager to get into this one.
Yeah, and we were just talking the other day about the upcoming Lost Omens and like all the stuff that's in the pipeline. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no shortage of Pathfinder second edition content in the pipeline. I mean, you turn that nozzle and you're gonna just get a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. They also have Starfinder, and I play Starfinder with my nephews, um, and so they love it. They're like, "Oh, we're playing D&D in space," and but they have that same breadth of content. I think what's interesting, just a quick digression into business models, is Starfinder has a really interesting business model, and pretty much every hardcover book that they have has player material in it. Almost every one, where it's the Alien Archive, which is the equivalent of the Monster Manual. Not almost, but a good third of those new creatures can be playable characters that you can use as the foundation for a character you create. And so players are encouraged to buy the equivalent of the Monster Manual, which is just a smart way, because typically you have your books and it's like players buy the player's handbook, and then dungeon masters buy everything else, right? And
which is just like,
and there's way more players than anyone else. But what's interesting about Starfinder is their adventure support was always a little thinner, went monthly. Now it's going every other month, and going to be supplemented with some stand-ins. And so I wonder how 2020 and the worldwide pandemic has kind of upended some of these business plans for RPG companies. And you hope everyone comes out of it doing well, and companies can come out of it strong. But it's things are shifting and things will change.
Yeah.
But excited for the new stuff, even if it's hard to play right now.
Exactly. Yep. That's my thinking too, is that when you get back to playing around a table, just think of all the content you'll get to scratch your back with.
That's right.
So very exciting. Pathfinder 2e stuff. You can check out all the stuff coming in the pipe over at paizo.com. They'll keep you updated, and then obviously at Nerds on Earth we have a lot of Pathfinder, Starfinder, D&D content that you can sift through as well.
Like a gazillion articles.
They're all over the place. You can't.
Yeah, you had a new one come out Monday, buddy.
Just had one this week.
Yeah.
So it's not. We're supporting Pathfinder.
Read it, nerds. Yeah.
Yeah, go read it.
Oracle.
The Oracle. I could have told you that. I knew you were going to say that, but I chose not to. Number one on the punch list this week, wrapping it all up. This is a bit of fun news. Bob Ross art is coming to Magic the Gathering Basic Lands, so the cards you need to play every single spell. They are having a set called the Happy Little Gathering Collection, and it will have each land type, and there will be 2 Bob Ross designs for each of the 5 basic lands. You can get them in a foil variety for $40 or non-foil for $30. Available for pre-order until the 14th of December. But, Clave, I will caution you. Actually, I'm not going to caution you. But because you are here live with me on the punch list, I'm giving you a punch list 1A. Morph this news into adjacency news, because not only are these lands coming to the real world, they're also available on Magic the Gathering Online, Magic the Gathering Arena. And
as DLC, for a little extra scratch.
No, my friend, these are free if you have the right codes. And who has the codes? Who's sharing them live with you here on the punch list? I am the giver.
The giver of Bob Ross.
If I was very prepared, I would have had a little graphic that I put up here so that you don't have to listen to me rattle them off. But you go to the store, you go to the redeem code, and in the order, Plains, Island, Swamp, Mountain, Forest, these are your codes. Take out your Ovaltine decoder rings, for Little Orphan Annie, because it is the season. So here are the codes: Delightful Meadow, Island Wilderness, Happy Swamp, Move Mountains, and Tree Friend. So there you go. That'll net you one of each of the Bob Ross basic lands that you can put in your digital decks for free. And thanks for joining us in the punch list. That's my treat to you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and that is fun news. You know, you go to your game shop and, they have the bin of the Magic singles, and then they have all the locations, and they're like a dime a piece, because everyone has tons of locations, but this is a fun little way to add a little kitschy excitement to that. So
yeah, and of course in the world of nerddom and Magic fans, they're like, how come these lands aren't full art? How come they don't take up the full card? Because there are certain lands that do that. And it's like, can't you just appreciate a good thing?
People are complaining.
It's all about aspect ratio. He didn't paint them in portrait mode. He painted them landscape. You can't put that on a vertical medium. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Come on, people.
So there you go. Bob Ross, come to Magic. It's pretty cool. Well-deserved. Great art. Up there with some of the best landscape art in the world. That's controversial, but maybe not. So let's bring it back from the top one more time. Yeah, you agree with me. No, I don't. I'm obviously not an art connoisseur, but I think Bob Ross's art is pretty good. So
he was one of the Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it was Splinter. I think Splinter was Bob Ross. Yeah, a lot of people get that mixed up because of the hair, but
yeah.
Number 7, Peter Dinklage is tapped for the Toxic Avenger reboot. Number 6,
Great movie.
Mads Mikkelsen is replacing Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. Great movie. Number 5, Joss Whedon is departing from the Never series over on HBO. Number 4, Clay's favorite Pokemon Kadabra is making a return to the Pokemon trading card game after Yuri Geller gives him the green light. Number 3, Clave's current TV series that he's very current on, The Expanse, has been renewed for a 6th season. Number 2, Clave's favorite role-playing game, Pathfinder 2nd Edition, is coming out with Secrets of Magic. And number 1, Clave's favorite landscape artist, Bob Ross, is having his art featured on Magic the Gathering Basic Lands. Wow, I didn't know this punch list was all about Clave.
It's a very 90s punch list.
And that's going to do it for all of us here at the Nerds on Earth news desk. It's been a pleasure talking news with you, Clave, as always.
Later, nerds.
See you, nerds.